Hey everybody. I just wanted to go ahead and get started. Nobody came. I've been kind of sitting around waiting, but nobody came. I want to talk to you tonight about Iran, mainly because it's been in the news. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by telling you why it's in the
With the
news.
escalating
Hold
tensions in
on
the
one
Persian.
second. I'm going to bring this over. First, I'm going to share my screen right there. Share. Okay, hopefully this is sharing now. If not, I'm just going to bring this over and I want to show you this little video real quick. Not little video, but this was on the morning news this morning. Okay, and so we got some stuff going on in Iran. Go ahead and get it started.
We begin, though, with the escalating tensions in the Persian Gulf after that massive attack that crippled key oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. The Trump administration is blaming Iran for the attack. That regime denies the claim, and oil prices soared overnight after President Trump warned the U.S. is locked and loaded for potential retaliation. Our chief global affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, is tracking all the latest from Washington. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This is one of the most serious foreign policy challenges the president has faced, with global consequences, a spike in oil prices, and the possibility of a major military conflict with Iran. This morning, with some of the world's largest oil processing facilities in Saudi Arabia still smoldering, President Trump threatening military action in retaliation, tweeting, "We are locked and loaded depending on verification." But a senior administration official tells ABC News that the highly coordinated attack was launched from Iranian soil. Nearly a dozen cruise missiles and at least 20 drones packed with explosives pounding multiple targets at the facilities, the massive blaze lighting up the skies, the smoke and fire visible from space.
If the Iranians directly attack the Saudis, it's a major escalation and the first time we have seen a direct attack by the Iranians on Saudi territory.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pointing the finger at Iran as well, in a tweet calling on all nations to publicly and unequivocally condemn Iran's attacks, which Iran flatly denies. The Iranian foreign minister mocking Pompeo, saying the U.S., having failed at max pressure, now turning to max deceit. Over the summer, Iran was accused of attacking oil tankers in the Persian Gulf and shooting down a highly sophisticated and costly U.S. drone. After threats of military action, President Trump then called off retaliatory strikes, but this time could be different.
This is as close as the U.S. has come to a direct confrontation with Iran since this standoff began.
An official telling ABC News it may take 6 months to repair, and oil, said the official, predicted to go up $20 a barrel. President Trump is trying to reassure Americans, tweeting plenty of oil, but promising to tap into the strategic oil reserves if necessary. This while the administration is trying to figure out how to respond to this brazen attack. George?
Martha Raddatz, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos
Okay,
here.
so in short, what happened was the oil fields in Saudi Arabia were attacked. Most people think that Iran did it. Iran is not taking responsibility for it. What does this mean for us? Well, us meaning people in the United States. Well, they attacked the oil fields, so oil is going to go up. They mentioned $20. It's going to go up $20 from what it currently is, and I don't know how much it is. Right now, it is specify in dollars because what they're giving me. Let's see. $68.05. I'll even bring this over. $68.05. So we're talking about it could go up even more. Woo! Yeah, so what does that mean when it goes up? Well, it means that the price of gas is going to go up. And what happens when the price of gas goes up? People complain because they can't buy enough gas and so on and so on. So, yeah, Iran, this is history. This is political science playing out in front of us. So I don't know what the next step is, what's going to happen next. But we're going to find out, hopefully. Anyway, okay, so what I wanted to do tonight was talk to you about Iran. It's one of our core countries. And so I've got a presentation here that I want to show you. And hopefully just kind of do a focus study on the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's our only theocracy in our core countries. So Iran, for most of its history, was known as Persia. It was only renamed in 1925. It's an arid plateau, some 4,000 miles above sea level. It's located in the Middle East. Persia was an important trade route linking the Middle East and Asia, thus making Persia one of the earliest, greatest crossroads in civilization. Today, Iran is a hotbed of controversy, as we will see. The United States and Iran have long misunderstood each other in many ways. It has fallen far behind the West. Its political culture is a theocracy, as I mentioned before, where Islam is used as a political tool. However, there are many Iranians that want to modernize their daily lives and government. But can this modernization be possible in a system so tightly controlled by religious leaders? Should secularization come with modernization? If I can get my words out correctly. So in looking at tonight, we're going to ask some very simple questions. How does Iran differ from other Arab countries? What factors brought about Iran's Islamic revolution? Explain the power struggle in Iran. What kind of Iranians wish to liberalize their system? And what issues are debated upon in Iran? So, moving on. So these are some of the different questions that we ask as we look at Iran. But you know what? This picture right here, I chose this picture for a reason. I think it's important to know that Iran is made up of people like you and I. And the people, just like you and I, we can't be held responsible for what our political leaders do, right? I mean, as adults we can vote, but, you know, most of the people are innocent. So as I said before, once known as Persia, Iran is slightly larger than Alaska. There are two vast ranges, the Elbrus Mountains and the Zagros Mountains surround a centrally desert plateau. Iran is an oil-rich nation. Iran is 66 million people. There are 66 million people in Iran, and they differ from those in other southwestern Asian countries. More than one half are Persians, not Arabs or Turks. Persia's ancestors migrated from Central Asia centuries ago. They speak Farsi, Persian, um, which is the official language of Iran. About 65% of Iranians live in urban areas. Tehran is the largest city and capital. 98% of Iran's people practice some kind of Islam. Okay. So about 2,000 years ago, Iran was the center of power. The Persian Empire was ruled by kings known as shahs. In 1979, religious leaders overthrew the last monarchy. Iran is now an Islamic republic, a government run by Muslim religious leaders. The government has introduced laws based on its understanding of the Quran. Many Western customs are seen as a threat, which are forbidden here. And this right here is the hierarchy of the different political leaders. So you have the Jewish guardianship, which is the Ayatollah Khomeini's overarching principle. This person has all-encompassing authority over the whole community. You have the supreme leader, the guardian council, 12 male clerics, 6 appointed by the supreme leader. The others are nominated by the chief judge and approved by the Majlis, the legislative body. You have your Assembly of Religious Experts, which is an 86-man house, directly elected by the people every 4 years. The Expediency Council is a 32-man council. This can originate by its own legislation, appointed by the supreme leader. The Majlis is unicameral legislature, directly elected by the people. And then the judiciary. The judiciary must be a cleric and is appointed by the supreme leader. So Iranian citizens have had little direct experience with democracy, but they generally do understand the importance of civil society. Until the Pahlavi Shahs of the 20th century, the authoritarian rulers had very little power to reach into citizens' everyday lives. Local officials were a presence, and religious law, Sharia, set strict rules for behavior. The Constitution of 1906, however, did create an elected legislature, which is the Majlis. By the 1979 revolution, guarantees. Although it guarantees civil liberties that were written into the Constitution, the Islamic Republic from the beginning ignored this due process principles, closed newspapers, and banned demonstrations. So you may be asking, what ethnic groups make up Iran? What kind of Iranians wish to liberalize their system? What factors brought Iran's Islamic revolution? So these are the cleavages, the ethnic groups that make up Iran. Iran is 90% Shia Muslim, 10% Sunni, 1% are a combination of Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians. The ethnicity is 51% Persian, speaking Persian or Farsi, Azeri, Gilaki, and the others. The social classes are as follows. The peasantry and the lower middle class support the regime. Middle class and upper middle class are largely secularized and tend to be critical of the clerics and their control of the society. The reformers versus the conservatives. Conservatives want to keep the regime as it is, under the control of the clerics and Sharia law. Reformers would like more democracy, more secularization. And then you have your pragmatic conservatives versus radical clerics. Pragmatic conservatives are clergy that favor liberal economic policies, that encourage foreign trade, free market, direct foreign investment. Radicals call for measures to enhance social justice, especially in terms of providing welfare to benefits to Iran's poor. And here's a chart that shows you the difference between the Sunnis and the Shiites. Okay. %85 of Muslims worldwide are Sunni, but you have 15% who are Shia. Okay. So you may be wondering, what do Iranians quarrel about? Well, Iran will always be a Muslim country, but what kind of Islam will it have? A moderate kind that keeps out most direct political involvement, or a militant kind that seeks to guide society by political means? The Iranian economy was hurt by the revolution and the war and the isolation and the mismanagement. Although oil income has increased, the gross domestic product has barely recovered, and unemployment is at 20%. 20% unemployment. We have like 3. Okay? Perspective. Iranians also debate over what kind of clothing is admissible for women and men. Western style clothing is not allowed, meaning men cannot wear blue jeans. Women have to wear loose clothing that covers them from head to toe. In the area of foreign policy, Iran feels it must take a leading role in destroying Israel, which it depicts as the polluter of the Islamic holy ground. Jerusalem is also sacred to Muslims. And it looks at it as an outpost of Western imperialism. So here you have a chart that shows the moderates as opposed to the Islamists. Or moderates as opposed to Islamists. Okay. So that was all I had for the PowerPoint. I'm going to hang out here for a little longer, just in case somebody else comes in. But I'm going to mute my mic, and I'll continue the recording going. If you have any questions or any questions about Iran or need me for any reasons, please feel free to reach out.